This is DEVLOG number 6. Today I'm 70 days into learning programming. Since I started learning programming, what I didn't do in the past and I'm doing right now is having a bullet point. So I will strictly talk about these few things. I will cover level design, I will cover camera resolution and camera following cursor through the function lerp. Relying more on design and art versus code and music, in my case, the game I'm working on, and uncertainty and pushback. Level design. So first things first, I'm making all my sketches very early on so I can understand what's the direction of the game, where I'm going with it, and what some problems that can occur. This game will be a puzzle platformer. As you can see here, the grid, the faint grid in the background, I made this grid for the entire document. So I know that a square from the grid will have 128 by 128 pixel. I want everything to work in this power of 2. So this will allow me to make collision walls and certain aspects of the puzzle. There is some blur text here and there because these are part of the story that is not yet ready to be revealed, and I'm still working on it. But I know the main gist of the game, how the screens will appear one after the other, and how the first level will look like, how the second one and third level will look like. So this is sufficient for me right now to move on the next step of the game, which is implementing all of these and also making the art for these levels, so I can get a firm grasp of how the game will look and feel like. So this is the level design. Also, you can see here some elements like the doors that you exit the level and the door that you enter the level. So each of these elements are created with the main story in mind, what the character is, what's happening in the world, and things like that. Another thing that helped me a lot by creating the level design is understanding that the first concept of the player, like the first few concepts of the player, doesn't work. And it doesn't work in the sense that I need the player to be kind of encapsulated in this square format, so 128 by 128. So I had to redesign the initial player so it's more square-like instead of elongated. And the asset will look something like this: camera resolution and camera following cursor. So this was one of my biggest challenges in these last 2 weeks, me trying to find a good way to switch between resolutions and not breaking the art. Right now, being in full screen and my monitor being 1440p, it breaks the resolution, but I can also go window mode, and then you can see that the art remains the same no matter the resolution I'm changing the window in. So this was one aspect. I will show you the code for it in case you want to implement it yourself. And another one was having this lerp function, which takes the position of the player and the position of my cursor. So it kind of moves the camera, allowing you to see in front of the level in case you're running the game on a smaller window. So having a window like this can be pretty hard if the camera doesn't allow you to peek ahead. The 4 resolutions that I have hard-coded in are the 1440p, the 180p, the 900p, I believe, and then 720p. So yeah, you can see the art remains crisp no matter what, which yeah, makes me really happy. Now this right here is the code for the camera. So what I'm doing is, for these 4 resolutions that I mentioned, including the full screen on and the window mode on, I hard-coded. It's not the cleanest way, but it works. I hard-coded the values that I want for the window to be. I have alarm 0 here, which is pretty much it does the window center, and without this, window will not resize in the center of your screen, because I understand the engine needs a 1 frame delay at minimum for the window to actually set the size properly. I don't know why, but I know it works. And now I have the object camera, which is in the room, in the first room that initializes the entire game. So I put the object here, and then this object will persist through the game. And in the object camera, I have this create event, which has all these variables and the few lines of code, the few functions. I have the end step event, which is actually very important for following the player. This code right here, these 2 lines of code, is what allows me to find the distance between the player, which is in my case global team player, and the mouse position. So again, if you're trying to implement this, here is a fast way of doing it. Adjust it to your own preference. Why I have this element here, global team player, instead of the object player, is because I can be either this entity, which is the initial player that you play with, or I can be this entity. So I need to be able to do the same thing no matter which entity I'm playing as. Relying more on design and art and less on code and music. It's pretty straightforward. My biggest strengths right now are art and level design. That doesn't mean that I'm not putting my best efforts into programming, into learning programming. But in order to see this project be complete, reach an end, I will have to work with what I know and do best, and that's level design and art. I have days like yesterday, for example, or 2 days before, when I felt like I'm consciously dedicating another year or 2 years or 3 years of my life working on something that might fail, and it made me relive some moments in my past. Like, I've been doing this for 15 years. I failed with every game that I made, but because I didn't took full control of it and I didn't really tried my best. So in this case, I'm pushing myself back, but don't allow these thoughts to be the final thought. Just try to discuss with yourself, have some inner monologues, and reflect on the feelings that you have, and see if you find something worth pursuing. And I think for me, in my case, games is what I want to do. It's pretty sad that it took me 15 years, and it will take me many more years from this point on to be able to make games as a full-time job and not worry about working for someone else and trying to, whatever, doesn't matter. The thing is, try to stay motivated if there's a reason to stay motivated, by reminding yourself that this might be something worth pursuing. And if you're like me and making games is something that matters to you, try to remind yourself when you have a good day, or early in the morning when you're drinking your coffee or sipping your tea or having some water. Remind yourself that it's worth pursuing, and you will eventually do this if you keep doing it and keep learning new things. So yeah, that's all for now. Sorry for mumbling a lot, and see you soon, I hope.